Okay, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. I still have a lot of technical difficulties here, and my sound's still not working properly. Got half of it working. Oh, they messed with this, and now they got this. Google got this thing where you gotta verify you sign in. It took me half an hour just to keep signing. You sign, verifies you. You know, they're trying to give me a stroke. These people went crazy, and so it doesn't matter. Time has run out. Tick tock. Right? So I'm not going to be able to do the full. There's no way. It's late. I spent too much time preparing. So I'm going to do a piece at a time while I still try to figure out what's with my sound issues. I'm not buying any more microphones. It's something with OBS or something going on somewhere. Anyway, brothers and sisters, I'm going to try to pick up from where I left yesterday, but I'm going to start from the beginning, and I'm going to do it in pieces. So if you want to get the whole thing, you're going to have to watch all the pieces, because I don't see how I can successfully just go through the whole thing and then hope and pray that it all gets recorded and everything else, because I would hate to go to an hour, 2 hours, find out that I had no sound or something. Anyway, great fear, extreme fear, brothers and sisters. It's about to grip America. It'll grip some of you too. And grip some of you too. Great fear. It's racing to America, racing. Check, see if I got thing. You got to watch all the great fear. Right? All America's done come back as a flood. They warned them. You sow the wind, you reap the whirlwind. We were just so. They didn't heed that warning. They had a nice run. Funny your run. Now the dam is breaking. You can hear it cracking. Oh, it's going to be broke any second. And when it does, right, it'll be instant. See, when the dam breaks, the water doesn't slowly flow. No. So what I'm going to do it. I'm going to just elaborate on the first topic of my commentary. Hell. And Donald Trump, Mr. Trump, he's going to be their Messiah. Okay. All right. Mr. Trump, he's going to make the golden age. Like I said, brother, I've been saying, brothers and sisters, there's a lot of questions that he's answering that no one asks, because you could bring down this whole house of cards with just questions. You remember, that's what the Jesus in the Bible did. He just asked questions. He asked questions. Let me see what I got. He said, and let them destroy themselves. Right? Answering the questions. Just ask questions. You can answer a lot of questions. Like, you got a football stadium. That big full stadium is. You got a football. Now, you know how big the stadium is compared to that football, right? That's pretty much like, let's say you put a car in the stadium. Let's put an SUV. And the size of the stadium compared to SUV is like pretty much the size of the Arab world and false Israel. So why is false Israel? Forget about nuclear weapons, because there was about 20 years in before they even got that. If they have them at all. Doesn't matter. So why is they able to spread so much fear over there? That's a question no one asks. Because where they get the fuel for their weapons? They get it from the Arabs. America was getting touched. Why Roosevelt had to go and make a deal with them, right? To get it all flowing. That's why British Petroleum was there taking Iran's oil, because they depend upon it all in the Middle East. And you can't fly that oil from America, even if America had it, or Britain there. So you had to take by boat. It would take weeks. So how in the hell was false Israel able to defeat them and bow when all they needed to fuel their machines and their planes and stuff came from the Arabs? Arabs just cut off. They did that in 1970s when Potter was president, and it brought the transportation industry to a screeching halt. You couldn't drive anywhere because with the gas station, you stand in line for hours waiting to get some gas, and most time, by the time you got there, the gas was gone. The Irish did that to America back in the 70s. Go check it out. So all they had to do is cut out, somebody, where they get those weapons from? They get it from, they don't make weapons over there. They don't make guns. They don't make machine guns. They make that stuff over there. Where the Arabs get it from? But I'm talking about just the oil itself. So I said, well, right? So all they had to do is cut the oil off. Even now, who's fueling their military machine? The Arabs. So if they want to stop, they really want to stop them, why in the hell are they fueling them? Because if they cut it off, that'd be in it. They could not survive. Like say, a small little country in that big stadium, they'd be devastated. They wouldn't survive. Even America had air, or they couldn't get over there fast enough. Plus, they had to fight their way anyway. So why don't they? Because they on board with that false lie just as much as Americans are. They confused because they know they're paying Farrakhan. They actually paying Farrakhan. They was paying Wallace. I've witnessed it. To stop that we going home stuff. To stop saying that. Saying the promised land's over there. We ain't going nowhere. They paying them big bucks to stop telling us that because they don't want to start thinking that our land and we're going to come and get it. They paying them. I witnessed it with Wallace because I used to go into his so-called masjids, and they had an Arab sitting right in the back of the masjid, or whatever you want to call it, sitting back at their table, right, monitoring what they were saying, auditing what they were saying, to make sure they said what they wanted them to say. And they got the same thing in Farrakhan. You don't stop that stuff about that's our land over there. That's what's going on. See? Then the other thing, this thing with Iran. I'm gonna move on, brothers and sisters. Thing of Iran, right? Now, if they attack Iran, well, I'm not going to open that door right now. But well, when they do attack, they're going to attack Iran. But see, they have to knock Iran out one blow. One blow. Because Iran has so many missiles and things that all they got to do, and they're already threatened, they blow up all the oil factories and everything all over the Middle East. So anybody that wasn't on their side, right, they assume they're on America's side, and what would happen? That would crash the world economy. Because then all be, there would be no back access because they got to blow up all the oil wells. I'm going to move on. I'm going to talk about maybe that tomorrow in more detail. It's very complicated stuff. You see? But nobody asks those questions. You ask America, let's make America great again. Well, ask the question, when was it great? They have to ask that question. Right? Was George Washington and Jefferson, were they pedophiles? They raped black women? That's a known fact. Then why are you celebrating them? Would you celebrate? Would you tell the Jews to celebrate Hitler? Then why you tell us we got to honor people that raped us and enslaved us and oppressed us for more than 4 years, for hundreds of years? Let me move on. Just got to ask a few questions. And one big question, right? What's a dictator? Go to Google. What's a dictator? Dictator is somebody tell you what to do and you better do it, and you take it by force. And if you disobey them, there's no question. They don't get voted in. There's no question, right? They'll torture you, oppose you, whatever. If you don't obey them, that's a dictator. That's what they say at Google. So wait a minute, excuse me, there's somebody that I know that is like that in the Bible? That's Jesus. He's not going to get elected. He says he's going to come back, he's going to take it by force. He says he's your only king and you're going to obey him or you're hell. That man's going to hell forever and ever. So why do they hate dictators so much? Because when they tell you to worship and love, is a dictator according to their own Bible. They will never have you ask those questions. They paid not to ask those type of questions. You could easily bring this whole bullshit down with just questions. You have to make statements, ask questions. When was America great again? When? Tell me at what part in history was it great? When they were sticking dogs on us? When they was in the fields? They was raping us and murders and burning us up? When was it great? And the counterfeit power. America has no power anymore. Their power in their 2020. People just don't recognize it. That's and it tells you that right there in Exodus. Pharaoh had no more power. He just thought he had it, and he was telling people, "Yeah, we got it." And they was afraid of what he was bullying. But soon, at one point, they found that, like a bully, he's out there, he's doing his stuff. The last thing, bully wants a real fight. And then his real fight, then he's exposed. See? So are we going to do this? He can't do a goddamn thing. He's already, wasn't he exposed in Vietnam? Wasn't he exposed in Afghans? He couldn't beat rice stumpers and sheep herders? With no military to speak of? Right? And another thing, let me say this one thing. Remember I told you, I don't know if you paid attention, right? Remember I told you, a month or so ago, before they had the thing in Washington, D.C., I told you that these planes and boats have to pass through the atmosphere that we control, that tells you in the lessons, that they didn't have any power, because it depends on them getting through the atmosphere. So what if and the Quran even tells you that. So what if the atmosphere doesn't comply? What if there's terrible storms and things like that? Then the planes can't fly. They need the atmosphere to be in their favor. In their favor. Let me say it again. In their favor. They need the ocean in their favor. Otherwise, their tidal waves to play the most. So their power is neutralized. It has no value because they can't fly. They can't float. Am I telling you that? And all of a sudden now, there's another accident last night. Every day they have plane crashes. I told you. Right? Black folks are getting upset, and they didn't realize that one day, in a few more days, they do control this stuff. And Master Muhammad definitely controls it. So all of a sudden they have all this, every day having plane crashes. They have sea problems too. They have problems in every area. Because I told you this mathematics doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work anymore. And I'm going to get into the personification of the side of it, which is very deep and complicated. I told you to personify everything. So that means these crashes ain't just like bad luck. Ain't just like negative luck. It's personification behind it. And that's where when they talk about personification, most people don't get that because they think, well, it's just bad luck. But we control everything. It says control everything, and we gave power to Adam control the being it is. That means things don't happen just because it happened. Somebody's behind it. And I never really dealt that subject really thoroughly with any of y'all, because everything that happens out here is not like, oh, well, we just got bad luck. No, somebody's behind it. Everything happens, somebody's behind it. That's what we did. We personified everything. And that is just too deep a subject for me to go to with most of you. Because then you have to find, well, who's behind it? How are they doing it? Everything that happens, you have a car accident, somebody's behind it. No accident, such thing as an accident. Somebody's behind it. You might say, oh, yeah, well, somebody's behind it. They might indirectly still caused it. There's some conditions that will make that happen. That gets too deep. Maybe one day I'll touch on that one, brothers and sisters. Because then because you still got a lot of spooky stuff in your mind. Oh, that's just that bad luck. No, somebody's behind it. I told you, everything happens. Somebody's behind it. Because we personify everything. Now if we hadn't put Adam on then we, right? Because we put Adam, so he personification of our abomination. He personification of our Holocaust. Otherwise, we went to something else. We still suffered as much like all the nations. All the nations suffered energy deprivation, but we chose to go through the full run of it, take the full power to transform us. See? So if we had we wouldn't have been able to, that process, we'd been like other nations. We'd found some other kind of way to deal with it. We didn't deal with that way by making Adam, right? Then Adam was the vector, right, or the force, right, that would cause us to transform into diamonds. Be a focus force. Anyway, that's another story. Move on. I don't want to get sidetracked here. I'm going to keep this short. Try to keep it within half an hour if I can. So we can talk about the sun and moon side of it. That took a lot of time to put this together today, right? And hopefully I got it right, right? Sun and moon. So then I'll go, then each one of them I'll go into piece by piece each day unless I figure out what's one of my sound. Hopefully, let me check now, keep checking, see my kind of sound I'm getting over here. By making that, right? And that was, okay, sound is not that great, but it's loud enough, I guess. Okay. Sun and moon. Okay, let's move on. Now, I'm going to chapter 20. I'm going to chapter 20 like I never went in chapter 20 before. Going to about the sun and moon. That talking about Genesis. Now, I was going to put the Genesis side in there, but like I said, it took a long time to do this. And so I don't think I need to do that. Maybe I do. But it tells about the Genesis when first the sun, then the moon, 500 years. Because that really ranges home if you want to understand the Genesis. That'd be 500 years apart. Because when that 1,000-year period, first be the sun, I told you it was day and night, each one's 500 years apart. Right? So that means at first the sun, and then 5 years later be the moon. And then you find out that in the last day, right, is when it says, let's make men out of likeness and our image. So that wasn't done 6,000 years ago like these fools trying to tell you. I mean, Elijah was on the same page with that too, because he didn't understand. He didn't know everything. They try to say, Elijah never made mistakes. That's bullshit. Elijah made a lot of mistakes. So let's tell you he made mistakes. He wasn't a prophet, right? But because he's thinking, but how was Adam made a lack of our image? Where they try to downplay it like, well, he's an image of us, not us. Well, if that's what it makes it mean. It could mean that. It does mean that in Daniel anyway, right? But it goes further to tell you how much control. Adam doesn't have that kind of control that we're going to have. Because Adam was told to be restricted what he eat. This said you don't have no limits. That doesn't mean you eat pork. There won't be no pork around. We will eliminate. That's one first thing we're going to do. We're going to get there won't be any pork on the planet. We're going to eliminate. We're going to get rid of it. We're going to eradicate it all. Okay, let's move on. Okay, 2,000 years ago, right? The sun came on. That's Prophet Jesus. 2,000 years ago. And this is the situation as far as the angel is. We were, right? We were split up, but we was, we split up among the nations, but not in captivity, right? And we just split up in Africa. We was broke, but we were spirits. But we separate. We was spread out. We wasn't in captivity. I should just left that alone. No, that's not what it's saying, right? See, we're still all spirits. We were united in spirit. It was all gold. We're still united. We just, we just live in different parts of the world, right? But we're still united as a people, basically, in general. Anyway, that's 2,000 years ago when Jesus came on the scene. This is our condition. Now Jesus, right? He's a prophet. That Jesus in the Bible, right? Esau. No, not Esau. Oh yeah, Esau, right. I'm talking about Esau, right? And all the prophets were Levites. Let me get that straight. All the prophets were Levites. They were all black. Prophethood came out of Levites. Remember, there was a priest tribe. So prophethood came out of there. And that solves the problem Muhammad, doesn't it? Let me move on. And then 1,500 years ago, right? Back previous, at 1,500 years ago, that'd be 500 years later from 2000. 1,500 years ago, that's when Prophet Muhammad, Ahmed, right, came on the scene, right? And of course, our resurrection, that was the first resurrection. We was actually resurrected spirit, right? And we had the mind. We was given the Quran mind. You understand? In the Quran mind, and the Quran mind and our original nature. We still had original nature, and we had the Quran mind. Keep that in mind now, right? Okay, 1,500 years. Okay, we had the mind of the Quran, right? But we wasn't the moon yet, so I shouldn't have put that there. Let me take that out. I knew I was going to make a mistake somewhere. Let's make a mistake somewhere. Let me get this right. There's probably, like I said, I've been on this all day, brothers and sisters. And we weren't the moon yet. I put it there, but we weren't the moon yet. Hold on. Okay. 1,500 years ago, some Prophet Muhammad came on the scene, right? Okay. Am I saying this right? I'm getting myself confused here now. I had it right to begin with. Let me back up, brothers and sisters. I'm just late. It's late. Okay. The sun came on the scene 2000. Right, I had it right the first time. The sun came on the scene 2,000 years ago. Right. Okay, I had it right the first time. I know what I'm thinking. Then next, 500 years later, right? That's when the Quran came on the scene. That's what I was trying to say. So, lay back up here. I need to get some rest, bro, since I've been going like crazy. Plus, I'm doing a lot of fasting. Anyway, 2,000 years ago, I had it. The sun. That's when Prophet Muhammad, Prophet Jesus came on side. Right, and he revealed the he revealed the angel, but that was a sealed Bible, in the sealed Bible version, right? Okay, but that was the sun. The sealed Bible was the sun. Understand that? The sealed Bible was the sun. They talk about in Genesis, right? It'd be the brighter light. Then 500 years later, 1,500 years later, will come the moon, and that's when, right? And at that point, right, up here. See, before down here was, go back previous. For the 500 years until that, see, we weren't Muslims. At least in the way they say it. A lot of us were Christians. That's what I meant to say. See down here, this is Christianity, and that was the Catholic Church. And in Southwest Africa, a lot of it was Christian because they was under the influence of the Catholic Church. That's what I meant to say. Right? They're under the influence of the Catholic Church. Right? Because Christianity had gotten hold into Africa. After Prophet Jesus came along, a lot of Christians, but they was also polytheists and stuff like that there. But they weren't Muslim because Prophet Muhammad hadn't came on the scene yet. You understand? So they was down here, sun. So they was under the influence of the sun. Okay? And then, when Prophet Muhammad came, then they got the mind of the Quran. See, they had the mind of the sealed Bible before that. That's what Catholicism is, not Christianity. Okay? So I'm not giving this I'm giving this the overview. I'm not getting to the real details here, because like I said, I'm running late and I spent a lot of time putting it together, but that's why the letters say Christianity is 500 years old. You say, how is it 500 years old? Because it backs what the angel says. Right? Okay. Because they was under Catholicism. See, Jesus, when he came in, he gave them the sealed Bible, but what came out of that was Catholicism, not Christianity. What came out of what Jesus left, when he left the sealed Bible, what came out of that was Catholicism, the Pope and all that stuff, not Christianity. Christianity didn't come until 500 years ago. We'll talk about that in a minute. When God and Magog, they brought Christianity into the world. Okay, So 500 years mind. So in other words, that now you got the mind of the Quran, which remember, and you're reflecting, right? Mind of the Quran, right? And but you're reflecting, right? Because you're under Christianity. Remember, because this whole thing, under what Jesus left, is still under that umbrella. So now you're the moon, so reflecting, because remember the first light you got, right, was Catholicism. You understand? Okay. So now you got the mind of the Quran, because now you got the Quran, you got that mind. Before you had the mind of Catholicism. And you got that mind, that was the mind of the sun at the time. Right? But you still had your nature. Okay? Let's move on. Okay, now let's notice down here previous. Now at that time, there was no Gog and Magog for that 500 years. There wasn't any Gog and Magog, wasn't any Britain. Britain is really not Europe. It was an island country that refugees and exiles and stuff ran to. That's why the language is all messed up. It's a mixture of Greek and Spanish and German and everything else. Okay, so I'm not showing them here. And I'm showing the reason why I'm saying it's Syria and Iran, XX, because they weren't even named that at the time. Iran's a new name, it's a modern name. It was called Persia before. So I don't want to go into details about that, but as far as on this time, they were under Zoroaster. Under Zoroastrianism, you can look it up. That's religion the Persians and they was mostly under, because that was during that time, a period between Jesus' time, after Jesus, this prophet came called Zoroaster. After Jesus the Bible, Esau, there was a prophet called Zoroaster that you most don't know about. But you can look at it, it's called Zoroaster. And that was a religion, and there's a Bible. That Zoroaster Bible is out there, and it's pretty much like the regular Bible, right? Because he was a prophet of God, right? But Zoroaster came, and the Iranians mostly, not the Iranians, but they called it Persian at the time. They was Zoroaster, under Zoroaster. They called it Zoroastrianism, I believe. Okay, so the whole world there wasn't Islam. They was under either Catholicism, Zoroastrianism, or polytheism, or whatever, right? And then Prophet Muhammad came along, and that was the resurrection, because he brought our people up out of that and gave them the Quran mind, and also did that to the Zoroastrians, because they converted too to Islam. So that's why I call it resurrection, right? Okay. And then I'm going to, like I said, I'm cutting corners, because if I do this, every little detail, process, I'd be here for hours. So some of you should be aware of this. So I'm doing this same time. God came a little afterwards, but I'm just showing both come together, right? Come right after each other. When they come right after each other, I'm not showing the distance of time, that's all. So here, Magog rise up from the earth, like it says, and then God came out of it. So first, Britain rose up out of Europe. That's where British came from, came out of the dust of the earth. When I say come out of the dust of the earth, because all the Europeans was the dust, the exile, and everything else, that's what it means. That was Adam. Adam in the Quran, 500 years ago. 500 years ago, right? And then out of his side came Eve. That's where it said, that's exactly what happened. That's Gog, out of his side, right? If you understand Angel Key. So that's the rise of Gog and Magog after 1,000 years. That was the resurrection, and after 1,000 years later, I'm not showing all the particulars, right? 500 years later, right? So we're still here. When Gog and Magog came on the scene, I'm going to show a different way here. But I got to cut corners, right? And then when that happens, right, then the Holocaust, 500 years, because that's what Gog and Magog's, right? And you see what's happening right here, is they came and took control of us. Gog and Magog. That's what we're enslaved at this point. You see? Now, I never showed you the angel key prior to 2,000 years ago. I'm showing you now. And the history bears witness to this. That's what took control of us. Gog and Magog. Right? And see, America had NOI. See, they don't make this stuff, So that Because remember, the tree was moved over into, okay? See? So we fell, okay? They took us down. We didn't fall, they took us down. And so we had the mind of the sealed Bible now, right? Because now you're talking about Christianity 500 years ago. They gave us Christianity. They forced it on us. Now the Catholicism, that was something they was doing. But they forced on us 500 years ago, right? And they had a seal, they sealed our mind and our body at that time. They had on captivity and our mind, both. That's what it's saying here. See, you see him blinking right there? 500 years ago. Okay? That started the Holocaust. That's what it says in Genesis, right? Let's make man like our image. And then, in the 30s, right? Come Master Muhammad. So I'm cutting corners here, right? Still, the sequence is correct. It's just the timing. Master Muhammad shows up in the 1930s. They still got my minds and our bodies, okay? And then he raised a nation, put Elijah in charge. But that particular time, right? Okay, got an error there. With demons. Oh, boy. I guess I wasn't thorough enough. This goes a little deeper than I'm showing here, but I'm still got to talk about prior kinds of involvement, but I'm not going to that today. I don't know if I need to at all, because he's going to be exposed in a minute anyway. They show a lot of old videos like he's happening right now. It's pathetic. Okay. So at this point, right, they raped us and everything else by the time he shows up. So a horrified nation turns to demons, skin folk. When he comes, I put Elijah in charge, but tell him don't try to separate the wheat from the chaff because you're not wise enough to do it. So he preached to both of them. Okay? Oh boy, I still don't have it. Okay, let me just go ahead and get it all together. If I leave it like that, boy, I know I will hear it. I don't know how I missed that. So got any more? I don't want to say somebody's in there, but I don't say I missed that. I don't see how, but I guess I did. Okay, he's good now. Okay, he's good now. Okay, Master shows up in the 30s. Half our nation is demon skin folk, wolves in sheep clothing. And then in 1948, 76 years ago, right? See, the Antichrist comes on the scene. You got to pay close attention to this bones. Oh, no. See, it wasn't an Antichrist before that. See here, empty space. Gog and Magog, no Antichrist. Right? Because they didn't bring to existence until 1948 next, and there's no sun here either. No sun. Right? Then what happens? Both come on the scene at the same time. See, the Christ, that's why I call it Antichrist, because Christ and Antichrist, they both could see it at the same time in 1948. Can't make it up. So if you want to find who the Antichrist is, who the Christ is, he's here now. And he's the exact same age as the Christ, Antichrist. He was going to see it in 1948 too. See, the thing is that what they did for Suleiman, they made sure that he had all credentials that no one else could possibly have. So you couldn't make no mistake. Now, if you make a mistake, then that's going to be your ass. Because you're going to ask these questions. Because Farrakhan, he's got all the credentials of the son of perdition. Every one. He's got every one of those credentials. Every mark. He said in his life, see, 42 years, right? He's Aaron who destroyed, the betrayed and tried to turn his heart back to Egypt after Elijah's departure, right? And they never say in Exodus that him and his brother had the same father. They would say that. You see? Because he said him and Moses was brothers. But you understand, Angel Key, because they've been in the same spot. That's what he's talking about. But if you look at it from a family point of view, they never say that they had the same father. He said, I didn't see it anywhere. His father's a devil. You miss it. Right there, biology got him. Right? Elijah Muhammad said he'd be his worst hypocrite. He missed it. Right? He's not representing Elijah Muhammad. I put $5,000, $1,000 out there to anyone who can prove that and nobody's never stepped up to it. It's open. I don't even do it anymore, but it's still open because he's not teaching Elijah Muhammad's teaching. We can prove it easily. So he's got all the credentials of a lying dog that he is. And it says Suleiman have all the credentials everywhere. Besides Jonah, conception, breaking the fourth seal, unbreakable seals. That's two miracles right there. 3 years on Demon Island. You can easily check that out, right? Like I said, conceive. I mean, how do you make that up? You go back in the womb and reconceive yourself. Conceive in 1948. He didn't conceive himself. Same age. That's why I call Antichrist. And he break the 7 seals. Right? He suddenly come to Elijah's temple. All these things. You got all these credentials. Every credential you're supposed to have is tailor-made suit. So you have to go explain. And even in Malachi, it tells you. He'll come after Elijah with soap. So what, he got to clean up Elijah's mess, or he had to clean up the person's mess between him and Elijah? With Farrakhan, who's robbing the nation because he ain't producing any damn thing. He's cursed with a curse. He is. You ever heard him mess your prophet curse like that? That's a curse. That's the worst curse a man can imagine. He got all the credentials, but let's move on. Okay, in 1975, departure of Elijah, right? And son of perdition is, there it is, Farrakhan. Elijah goes back up to the wheel. It's right there. That's the angel key. I'm not playing with the angel key. I'm not playing around with it. Anybody that's been studying know I just say exactly this. I don't change it. Say, well, to make this point, I change it. Say this. The point said, no, I just go with the flow. And it speaks. It's a language. Angel is a language. It's a mind. It's a language too. It's a language you need to speak during this time we're going through. That's what it's designed for. The language you need to speak. That's another way of saying it. If you can't speak it, you're not going to be successful. If you go to another country, you can't speak the language, you cannot be successful. If you don't speak the language of angel, because that's the beginning, like you're going to go to grammar school, it's like where you got to learn basic language, right? Then move further and get deeper and deeper and deeper. You speak to a child, you can't speak to a child, speak to an adult. But you learn the basics of thinking mathematically, mathematical thinking. Get the emotions out of it. Let me say something about this. I'm not going to get sidetracked here. You know, you got 2 levels. You got the mental level of dealing with something, you got the emotional level. Now, when you deal with a mental level, like if you take vengeance on the mental level, there's no emotion in it. That means you just know, hey man, that rats, you got to get rid of them. You look at it like that, there's no emotion, you know. It's like, you know, if you go in and you see a bunch of roaches, you step on them. You know, it's not emotional, you step on them. You know, you don't want them around. You got the cancer's cut out. There's some emotions that, you know, it has to be done. Right? But then you got the emotional side. Now, this is more thorough. The mental side is more thorough because you know you're doing it because you know it has to be done. The emotional side is not that thorough, but it's more hateful, it's more vengeful, it's more powerful, but it's not that most thorough because it depends. Your emotions like weather. So if you're really angry, you can do a lot of damage, but you mean to cause harm. See, the person that thing is and eradicate, because you're a disease. You got to get rid of you because right. But this one, he wants to inflict pain and suffering on you, the emotional. He wants to inflict pain and suffering on you. He wants to do damage to you, right? Like they did to us, right? That's what they did. They acted on an emotional level, hatred, racism. But it's on mental, it's thorough, but you just don't mention it. Hey man, I just got to get rid of these. I guess here comes some bulls. Got to get rid of, man. I said, you're that emotional. I just have to get rid of because they're gonna cause a problem. But it's emotional. You want to kick ass, you want to take names, you want to get vengeance. See, here is not vengeance. Emotional is vengeance. Here is just eradication. You just gotta. Okay, it's just eradication. Let's see, baby. I need to turn this off. I can't be here all day. I guess I'm good. He's trying to tell me something. I guess I'm okay. Check my sound here. Byron Bros, I have to check my sound now. Okay. You understand? So the thing is that when I initially got into the angel, there was a slight, there was an emotional element to it, because I said what motivated me first was just, initially seeing what it was about. It wasn't nothing emotional. I was just saying, look, I didn't know I was breaking any seal. I just wanted to get into, find out what that book was about. I like figuring puzzles and stuff. I didn't think I was breaking the seals. I didn't think I was doing anything like that. I was just curious. I told you how I got into it. I think I backed into it. I was just curious. I wanted to see what's in this book. And then when I stopped, I didn't even realize I broke the seals. After I broke them, and I got in the book and said, oh, damn, this is what they're talking about. I didn't know what a seal was. So I didn't know what I was breaking them. I didn't even know what the seal was. And once I got into it, I said, I backed out. Oh, man, what I got myself into here? And I didn't know if I wanted to continue to do this or not, because I said, I'm a hermit by nature. And I said, but then I started about these sisters, because that was always in my mind about what they did to our women. And I know more now than before. A lot more now. And I said, oh man, somebody got to stand for these sisters. So the emotional kicked in, right? It was enough to get me motivated. That's it. At that point in time. So I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Because I said, the brothers, man, they could stand for themselves, right? But then I went back into the intellectual. It was just all about that, man. They devils. They got to be gone. We can't. Just exactly what the lessons say, right? And that went on for like that. Because I know if you go back and look at my presentations, if people that's been around 4 or 5 years at the presentation, you see any emotions in it all. None. Just telling you what it is. And later you get a lot of emotions. And it tells you why the emotions came up. It tells you in Jonah. He got pissed off because of the delay. He's got really mad, got emotional. That's what emotions came in at. Because other things, but mostly, it was surrounding that. So the emotion came in the end, right? Because wrath is emotional. Wrath is not this. This is not wrath. This just eradicate. If you want to step on your roach, it's not a wrath. You just get rid of them. You don't want a roach in your house. You want rats in your house. Right? But wrath is emotional. So it had to be moved to the emotional state, and it became extreme emotion. And you see, Jonah is very extreme, so it's more to it than I'm telling you. But basically, it was surrounded about the delay and what was in the process of delay. And I told you about that space period between the transition point. And so it made him very wrathful, but also made the God very wrathful too. And that's the emotional side. And I told you that's the worst part for the enemy, because you ain't just want to eradicate them, you want to torment them, you want to beat them, you want to terrorize them. See, the only upside about that side is that you may spend all your emotion, and you might say, okay, now I'm going to beat your ass and I'll let you go. But that ain't going to happen, because it's going to be all the way till they totally eradicated. Let me move on. I mentioned that, but I move on. Anyway, departure, right? And then that's when the nation falls. It doesn't fall because Farrakhan buried it. And that's why we see here in death. I didn't put this death here, but because they said the nation of Islam was put to death. And And anybody knows the intricacies of death. I didn't do all, like I said, I didn't do all of, because I did everything. I've been here for hours putting this together, right? So everybody knows. That's why NOI was put to death by Farrakhan. Like he was whatever. And then JCPOA came along. Now we're moving on, and that's Obama. See, he wasn't on the scene before that. See, oh, I made a mistake. They shouldn't be here. Okay. Again, I'm gonna get this. I'm not gonna let it go. I'm not gonna let it go. Because I want this to be right. I just have to do it again if I have to. For JCPOA, 75. Well, wait a minute. Oh, right, he wasn't in 75. I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to put the symbol. The symbol should be a lion. I should leave it. He wasn't in 75. Just leave it there for right now. I'm going to, when I get all my sound and everything together, I'm probably going to go through this in more detail. So in 1975, he wasn't. Right? So they put to death. And I was put to death. Those of you familiar with the angel keys understand the power of this. They've been all put to death. By who? Who sat in Elijah's seat. See, this tells you a lot if you learn how to read it. It says, he who sat in Elijah's seat and he put the NOI to death. That's what he's doing. Right? And these are under power, the demons are under power of Catholicism. Okay. Then JCPOA comes. Now Obama appears, JCPOA, right? And so that's when this is during the time that Americans invade the Middle East, and they supersede the power of Iran and Syria. Right? These casting down JCPOA. I told you it was not going to be revived. Okay, that's all under Obama, right? And then under Foot of the Nation, that's the second stage of it, right? Okay. We're still dead during this period of time. America is still, right? They carry down JCPOA. That means on the authority of NOA, and the UN, because that was not authority for the nation. That's another way. But anyway, move on, brothers and sisters. I'm gonna try to explain everything tonight. Okay, then Trump comes along. See, he comes along, and then he doesn't revive it. He cancels the JCPOA, then they start rising. The conflict in the Middle East start building. And here we go. This is because of Trump, right? Like I said, when the resurrection takes place when the trump's blowing. 4 winds. And they gave a big hint there. See? Because the person that will cause that trumps to blow, right? No, I mean, involved in that, his name was Trump. There's a big hint there, but I'm not going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. Is that a coincidence? Apocalypse, war in heaven. And this is where, right, that what is about to happen. 2025, so I put it there. It's about to happen. This second phase of war in heaven, where Iran is, America and Britain still control the Middle East. They control Jerusalem, the Middle East. And they're pushing against Iran and Syria. They already took down Syria. And we know about, and the fourth seal, fifth seal explains that. Right? So this is where they are right now. Right? So they're pushing against each other, but America, Britain, and far Israel have control of the Middle East right now. And Trump said he's going to take, well, whatever. And that war, and that's what happens. They win the war, and America and Britain are kicked out, and falls Israel. Well, Israel can't go any place where they live there. America and Britain is kicked, right? Okay, let's keep on. And then, right, they come against us. But that's when false Israel is surrounded by armies. Jerusalem is surrounded by armies. Now, who controls Jerusalem? Them. And says, that's another question right there. It says, when Jerusalem is surrounded by armies, it's destruction. So who controls Jerusalem? That means the Jews are going to be destroyed at that point. But they can't be if they see Abraham. But they don't say it like that.
They don't say it like that. Because if they destroy it, they couldn't be. And you'll hear him say it that way, but that's exactly what it says right there. It says, when you see Jerusalem surround my armies, it's destruction. And they control, they say, oh, that means the Palestinians. No, it says it right there. When you see surround my armies, that means, they predict that, there's verse predicting that false Israel is going to be destroyed. And if they destroy it, they couldn't be see Abraham. And that's the whole reason why they just put it to begin with, to deceive us that they are true see Abraham. But that's an easy question, but nobody ask it, does, do they? Okay, here we go. This is about to happen. That's why I'm revealing this right now. So you have this. I put stuff out there. I put another thing out there about the timeline. So now I'm going to chapter 20 and show you chapter 20, right? From there on. So I didn't do it in the other one. I did, right? I'm giving you more details about what you expect to happen. It's going to happen very soon. They talking about hitting false Israel in the next few days. And then false Israel is taken down. And taken down. The world will see it. And it's going to be one of the vectors that's going to awaken our people. But it's going to put them in a state of confusion first, because first of all, they've been lied to, told, everybody universally been told that false Israel is see Abraham, and when they go down, this whole lie has been built on that. This whole religious lie, what do you call it? I forget the term they use. Judeo, whatever, right? It's built on that lie, and now they're going. That means it couldn't be right. And that's what started waking people up. Say, wait a minute, they couldn't be. And they be hearing that we are. But then they got a conflict there too. But what are we going to do about it? Right? So that puts the whole world in flux. See? And that's when Suleiman comes. Right? NOI. Giving their mind back so they can guide the people out of the confusion. Because remember, that's what happens when in Mark, he gives the man was beating himself. He didn't come to Jesus because he had him. He came based on his nature. His nature was being revived, and that's how he recognized Jesus, through his nature, not through his mind. Because when he came, he still had the devil's, and Jesus had to give him his mind. Then once he connected the two together, gave his mind back, and right then, at that point in time, they told him, "You can't leave with me," because that's the time he departs. But he said, you got to stay here and wake up the rest of your people, because now you got your mind. Now you got to go and help them get their mind back. That's the mission. That's why it says they wash their robes in the blood of the Lamb, because if you understand who they are, right? So let's move on. And then that's when the four winds blow, because I didn't put that, I didn't fix that, so I'm gonna leave it there. Right? I didn't organize that, but it's there. It's close enough. I don't know how I missed that one either. Anyway, but they would be under attack and everything else, because they're still confused and all that. They're still confused. Islam hasn't really got a hold to them. They're still confused, so they still don't know what to do. And that's when the four winds blow, right, under authority of Obama. I'm not going into details about that right now. It's late and everything else, brothers and sisters. But that's when that's the resurrection takes place, when the four winds blow. Who's blowing the four winds? Master Suleiman. Because he said, preach to the four winds. Prize four winds. He's preaching the angel. Right? He's still here. He's teaching the name of Islam. He's still here. Right? When the four winds blow. And then, I got a little, okay, I didn't get that one either quite, okay. Well, what can I say, bro? After that. And you don't see that, it's not a mistake here, it just could be a little more elegant than what I have right here. Anyway, so that's when the resurrection takes place. And they all come together. Still in America, they all come together. Demons as well as the saints, NOI as the saints. Right? Elijah returns according to his Exodus, right? Master Muhammad, right? Suleiman, right? They see Suleiman, right, with the clouds, coming in the clouds. These are also called clouds. That's no story. I'll move on. And that's when the demons are cast out. They're separated down here. Thrown out amongst the Europeans, and they go to war for 505. Farrakhan's the chief one. He's a spiritual leader, right? And they hear that Samson, they battling with the Europe, trying to take America. Because at this time, I don't think I showed that. Did I show that? Yeah, did I miss that? I think I missed that. 4 wins, I think I missed that. 4 wins, let me see. Solomon comes. Okay, I missed that. Okay, I must took it out. Okay, when they get this here, they cut the, I missed that. Mass Farm cuts everything. The oil stops. So the economies collapse in Europe and in America. 1 second, bro. Just I got to check something real quick. Okay, bro, since I had neglect, I don't know what I did. I know I had it in there, I must have took it out. Anyway, I did talk about that initially when I first started, right? How Iran, they'll have control all the oil. And so that's what caused, total economic collapse. Total economic collapse, right? In Europe and America. Right? So let's move on. Once they could take control, they have control of all, they can have control of the whole Middle East. So they, like I said, they're gonna be, I'm not getting that shadow there. Okay, let me do something here, brothers and sisters. All these technical issues I wouldn't have before, just out of nowhere. I couldn't even log on for an hour because they told me, Google, now you gotta prove that who you are, and you gotta look at this cell phone and find what cell phone they send a message on. And then even after you get in, then you go look at your video, you gotta prove yourself again. I said, man, what the, oh. So they're trying to give me a stroke. See if that helps in here. No, that's even worse. Okay, well, but now I got a lighting problem. So what can I do? Well, they wanted to stop me. Should have stopped me 30 years ago. The damage is done to them now already. Okay, that looks a little better. Maybe that'll work. Maybe that'll work. Adjustment here.
little adjustment here. Okay, see if that works. Okay, well, got to switch some of it. Change cameras. Okay, so here we go. Backtracking, right? They're attacking us, right? Because there's total economic collapse in America and also in Europe. Okay? See? And false, they can't help. They abandoned false Israel. It's surrounded, under siege. It said when you see Jerusalem by armies, destruction is near. I told you about since the beginning, I'm going to give you an overview. So I hope to go into more detail once I get everything working, but it's going to take a few hours to do that. Right? So, Satan destroyed, economic collapse in America and Britain. I mean in Europe, Britain also. Suleiman comes, right? That's when he takes over the NOI. Says people sit in dark, see the great light. Farrakhan is disposed. See? There's the four winds. Resurrection takes place. Right? This all in 2025, this year. And then they cast out, separate out. See? Remember, this total economic collapse, America's great fears grips America. There's no food, no oil, no gas, no heat. That's the way it is. Cannibalism reigns. There's no unity. Right? I'm not going over the details I've talked about in the previous one, so I'm not going to do it here now. Just give you an overview of what you expect. Okay. And back up here. And so that's what happened. The demons are cast out. I'm not going any further on this one, just going this far. Right? This demon war takes place. Right? See? And what was I going to say? That's missed my point about, we're talking about the, okay, let me back up here. This is where oops. I'm getting out the view here, bounces. So this is where, let me get to that point. Okay, this is where Suleiman comes and get them their mind back. He takes control of NOI, getting their mind back. They're already getting their spirit back, right? Nature, because they're energized. So they had to get their mind back. That's where they get their mind back, NOI. And then sets them out, right, to resurrect the rest. Horns blow and get them to come together. Now he's leaving with the spirits, as the Lamb's Book of Life, after these are cast down. Okay? Now, if you look at this, you understand this. That means Suleiman and his elect are not here anymore because they're over here with Iran and Syria. That means they're on the other side of the world because Iran and Syria is not coming here. That means they're gone, right? Okay. And the wives is here, right? See? And they have to get the rest of our people that's left in Hawaii, right? See? Okay. And here it again. Malachi tells you, first you got the God who will come. They refer to him as the angel of God. So why would they do that? It's a good question, ain't it? And then Daniel refused to worship him because he's Darius. And Darius have a problem with it. So I'll let you think about that one. And then Elijah, right? He will raise Elijah. And then there'll be Aaron. Look at him. You talking about me? Follows the devil. He hides on the name of Elijah. He's not preaching Elijah's program. No way, no form, fashion. Then the messenger of the covenant, who will come full of soul. Why? Why are you coming so? You got to clean up something. What you got to clean up? Clean about the matter for Muhammad? That means something wrong with Elijah? What you got to clean up?
You got to clean up the one that's in charge when he shows up. When he shows up, Elijah's gone. So that's the one that's in charge when he shows up, who the Lord will consume his spirit's mouth and destroy, which he's about to be destroyed. He's being consumed now because now it has so-called Savior's Day. And the whole thing is bullshit from start to finish. Somebody they're going to put, well, he said, is it 60,000 or 6,000? 6,000? And first they ask you a question. If you've seen that place, you can't put 6,000 cars in that parking lot. You can't do it. You're lucky if you get maybe 100 cars in that parking lot. But they said they're going to parking lot be filled with, they're going to make tents and stuff. It's going to be cold there in February. It's going to cost a lot of money to put tents up and people in there. And you put people in tents, they want to come see the show. So what you going to do? You're going to put all electronics and stuff that you need to make that happen, and they're going to put tents. And somebody they couldn't get an auditorium nowhere in the world, nowhere in America. Suddenly, when Farrakhan's got Alzheimer's, and then he may not be there, and you can't see to that, Ray Charles? You can't see to that? So, well, he only speak if God let him speak. So, I mean, he ain't going to be there. And then they told you, they slipped up, they slipped up and said, well, Ishmael's going to, he represent Farrakhan, he's going to give Farrakhan a speech. Well, they tell him he ain't going to be there. Because he can't be there. It ain't because God told him, well, God told him not to speak, then why he's still speaking? Why is Ishmael speaking? Because he's his spokesman. So if you tell a dummy to stop speaking, that means the person that moved the dummy should stop speaking too, right? Or if you tell the man to moving the dummy to stop speaking, the dummy should be moving either, should it? It's cover up. I'm not going into details, brothers and sisters. But even if all other stuff they're saying was true, they got tents out there, or electronic stuff they need to put out there, so people be comfortable. I mean, they got to put chairs, they got to have security there, they got to sit men for women, all these different tents. They go, like, come on, you, and they got barely enough to even kind of handle the what they call a monster there right now. And then they got to have that full, right? And then they have all this infrastructure out there in these tents. They got to set up these tents. Air conditioning, got to put heat and everything in them. And then you got to ask about park space over there. They ain't going to be able to park in there if they're going to set that much up. So where are you going to park? And there's no parking spaces out there. Or you going to park on the street. So even if they got 6,000 people, where they going to put 6,000 other people parking there too on the streets? And plus, some of them, a lot of them no parking there. I knew that. I ain't been there in years. But I know what it looks like. So you're going to be what? You're going to be 5 miles away walking. It's all bullshit. And the thing is, see, Elijah, he had some competent people around him. So he left, they kind of put it together. They fooled a lot of people. They was kind of put it together, right? Because remember, he departed before Savior's Day. They kept it secret for like 2 or 3 days. They didn't want to announce it until Savior's Day when everybody was around. But these clowns he got around here, man, they're as stupid as he is. They have no idea what they're doing. Everything don't make no. All you got to do is ask a couple of questions. None of this didn't make any sense. Well, you can put 6,000, even you get 6,000, be done with 6,000. No people will come there. They know they're gonna be in a damn tent and they got to park 5 miles away. Nobody even want to show up on that one. Or they get there and they say they can't park anywhere. They don't move out. Right? Anyway, and then mess with the covenant. He's the one who's going to take you home. He's the one who has to put down this clown here. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. See how people right here, this is the state they're in right now. They're getting their nature back. But they ain't got the angel yet. When they get the angel mind, god damn, oof. Okay, see, because they get enough energy to revive their nature. See, the nature's something that's you. Birds fly. But you can take the nature like chickens. What happened to chickens, man? They can fly. They don't have to be eaten. They can fly. They got all the capability and everything else, but they don't. So they do fly. Sometimes you chase them. They will fly a little ways. They can fly as well as goose and everything. Why? What happened to them? They got denatured. Because they sit around here and get eaten. They can be flying away. So who's denatured? The natures when they took out nature away. has act like dogs and cats. It feds like animals. It treats like animals. Has acting like animals. Right? And they was able to do that because of energy deprivation. We didn't have energy. Plus we told Smith anyway, but even so. Because we wasn't acting all that well before they got us. That's one of the reasons why we did what we did. But now we energized, right? So for instance, say for instance, there was a famine, right? And you haven't eaten about 2 weeks. How you not be acting like you would your normal self? First of all, if you would look for something to eat, you might start eating some other people, or you're gonna be different. You're gonna be desperate. You're not gonna act as yourself. See? Why? Because you don't have any energy. You need energy for everything. Because when you got a lot of energy, man, how you happy, you're coming out, hey, he's coming out, right? I try to get you to understand that. So I see how people acting right now. I told you it's a combination of energy deprivation and the vectors that we're exposed to. The vectors is effective because the energy levels are down. But as the energy rises up, the vector's harder. In other words, a car, if you push a car that's fully loaded with bricks, and another car is not, you're going to have a hard time moving that car fully loaded with bricks because it's heavier. You put the same vector, same amount of strength, but one will react differently because it has more weight to it. Same thing. So they put this vector on us, but our energy increases harder to move us in that direction they want to move us. Because our nature is a different nature than theirs. The demons comes easier because they want to be more like Daddy. And the more strong they get, the more like Daddy they become. But for us, it's more difficult to move us. So at some point, right, they see, hey, we about to come together because nature demands we come together, right? Birds of feathers flock together. As you get more energy, you're going to want to come together because you want to be like your own people and everything else. You already see we dominating this whole society. I keep telling you that we dominate this whole society. We just don't dominate it here yet. So when we got our mind back, it's all over. In every atmosphere, every sphere, sports, music, right? And every area that we move into, right, we're not doing now. They say we're stupid, ignorant, yet we don't just not, we destroy it. And this is the one they will make sure we never get to. So as long as that's what Farrakhan's job is, right? To monitor, right? He's an infiltrator to make sure, right, that we never, because that's what his whole job for that 40 years. Turn our minds back to Egypt. Make sure we never get our minds back on who we are, who we truly are. And let's move on. Yep, here's his daddy, raping his mama. These are fruit. Like dad, like mama. Now he's cursed, and he's raping the Nation of Islam. He ain't produced a damn thing for 42 years. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, brothers and sisters. I'll leave it there. Hope you understand. I'm going to let this play out. Maybe I'm going to go ahead and let it play out. Okay, then I'm going to close. Assalamu alaikum. Oh. Why'd it go there? There you go. Yeah. Hmm.